that's happening. I'm telling you, it's busy, busy, busy bee that we've got going on here. So let me hit this on too. I'm live on my own page as well, but you all know that the graphics that you want to look at are mainly going to be across our social media platforms. There are a couple of items I have to keep an eye out for because we are seeing thunderstorm watches and warnings. So guys, I hope you're all having a wonderful start to your day. It's Friday. It flew by. I was kind of like, I'm like, oh, it's Wednesday. Thursday, it's Friday. Okay, a quick note here. I want to just see something that's happening. Then we'll get started. I hope everybody has some great weekend plans. What's everybody planning? What is everybody planning? Please tell me it's nothing but good times. Okay. So I'm going to start off with the Northern Plains. I'm going to start off with Montana, okay? So I hope everybody had a great day. I hope everybody has wonderful plans for this upcoming weekend. I'm certified broadcast meteorologist Erica Martine. Beyond excited. Oh my God, this week, I don't even know when it started and I don't think it's ended. I think it's just continuing, right, with everything that we're working on. So bear with me as I get this all together for you guys. Okay. So here I am right now working on, I'm going to focus on Montana. So oftentimes we'll talk about what's happening as far as the bigger weather stories. And in this case, we definitely see that there is something happening with that system that's an upper level system, right? A weather maker, if you will, in the across the Pacific Northwest and moving across the Northern Plains as well. So I think that's something that we're going to have to put a lot of focus into. Additionally, we are seeing much hotter conditions for the south central portion of our nation. That's big. And then cooler conditions for the East Coast, cooler conditions for the West Coast. So there are some big stories there, and I just want to make sure that I have everything up to date. Yeah, we have our monsoonal influence, which we'll go over. Look at that. Looks really good, guys. If you're not following us on our social media platforms, or if you don't have the beta, you're going to want to do so. So you see the yellow there? That's going to be an indicator of severe thunderstorms, watches, warnings. Let's go ahead and update that and quickly just pick on that. Let's see if we can get it one more time. Let's see. We could try to do that real quick. Let's just take off the radar. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Special weather statement. Here we go. What are you telling me here? Something's happening. But I got to get a little far. That looks like flooding, but I've got to get up here because this is where some good stuff's happening. So these are special weather statements. Let me just do a quick note here and see what this is. Severe thunderstorm warning. Okay, so that was one of the things. So like I said, central, northern plains, southern plains, we're going to really have to focus, right? So central, so it looks like central Wyoming, severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 6 p.m. local time, which is MDT. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now I'm going to start my full forecast in just one bit. A little bit of nowcasting as well. Not too much backcasting because many people have done that, but we do have to focus on what's happening right now. Okay, so there is what we refer to as an amplification of the weather patterns across the nation. So this is when we get into things like meridional flows versus zonal flows. And this is really important to note because you want to understand that when we're thinking of things like a zonal flow across the nation, it tends to be a little bit more quiet, right? Like the weather patterns are they kind of flow one into the other. But when we're talking about a meridional flow, it's those peaks and valleys. So it makes sense if you're looking at this graphic right now. The coast, the West Coast and the East Coast are both really quiet, but then everything's happening in the middle. So we've got peaks, area of high pressure, low pressure, high pressure. So a lot of the action is really happening right around the plains into the southern central portion of the nation. As you can see here, east of the Mississippi, there's just not much going on. Conditions are mainly quiet, but they are going to be cold. And we've actually got some reports from people who have already started their pellet stoves in Vermont because overnight lows were in the low 40s. I don't know if I'm prepared for New England weather. I just got to tell you. Okay, so we're looking at, of course, a lot of heat alerts issued by the National Weather Service, but I got to look at Montana right now. My concern would be severe thunderstorms. So we're just going to go ahead and let's zoom on in. I'll get to temperatures in one moment. Let's do a quick look to see what's happening in Montana, right? So this looks like, I'm going to gather fire weather. So let's see here. Let's do a couple of query boxes. Yeah, fire weather warning. Okay, and then this would make sense because if there are any strong thunderstorms that have any lightning strikes, that could be a really big problem. Red flag warning remains in effect until 10 a.m. Saturday to midnight on Saturday, Mountain Daylight Time. Impacts: low humidities, hot temperatures, strong gusty winds, wind shifts, and cold fronts will create erratic fire behavior and new fires can start. So, north central Wyoming, fire zone 274, south central mountain fire zones 123, 124, 125, 126, 127, 128, 129, southeast Montana fire zones 130, 131, 132, southeast Montana and northwest fire zones include, or South Dakota rather, include 133. Counties affected in central Montana: Golden Valley, Musselshell, Wheatland, and then we have central Wyoming, Sheridan. So, okay, we have a really big concern there. You know what we're going to do right now? We're going to pop on, guys, check this out. We're going to pop on our wind profile. There we go. Let's add our wind. There we go. Now are you seeing the aggressive nature of the wind? All due to, let me pull something up quickly if I can over here. Okay. All due to the overall setup in the atmosphere at 250, at 300, at 500 millibars. Let's just take a look here to see what we got going on here. I'm going to go to a high resolution model on my own here. You guys might be able to see that if you're right on our pages as well. Let's see. Yep, you see that area? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to see what's happening here. We got dry line. Okay, yeah, so we're going to have an issue here. We're already seeing these severe thunderstorm warnings actually expand. But let's go ahead and take a look at what these say. So severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Let's see. So Great Falls has issued this until 6:30 p.m. MDT. At 5:23 p.m. MDT, severe thunderstorms were located along a line of extending from 15 miles southeast of the Nease to 8 miles east of the Gyres, 16 miles south of Moore, moving east at 30 miles per hour. So this is what we're going to do, right? We want to know. Like, what is this exactly? If you guys are following us across Weather Co-op, you'll see what the severe thunderstorm warning is. Look at the gnarly winds. They are not happy right now. I'm going to go over to a different product because I want to see what's happening at about 500 millibars. I could pull it up on this model, but I don't want to. I want to just go ahead and let everybody see what's happening here. This is a pretty aggressive. Wow. Okay, we can see here. Pretty aggressive setup. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these storms get really strong. So let's go ahead and see what we have here. We're gonna pull up our convective products. Okay, so there's definitely, so the pressure gradients are something that we are keeping an eye out. Okay, so that would tell me one pressure type is proceeding or now exiting, and there's another pressure type that it's increasing and moving into the area. So what's the difference between those two? Like, is the low pressure system really strong, not that strong, or is the area of high pressure very strong? So let's take a look at that because where'd they go? Okay, I had something that I really liked here. Oh, this is what I wanted. Okay. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this here. Okay. GAFS, GEM, ECMWF. Okay, we're going to convective. Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely something intriguing. Give me One moment. You guys have any questions for weather, please ask me for this upcoming weekend. So at this point, where I want to start looking at the geohypses, I want to really understand what's happening with our geopotential height here, and that's exactly what I'm going to start looking for at 250 millibars. Okay, at 250 millibars, I'm really happy with that. I think if I'm going to look at something like height anomalies, that might be there you go. Okay, I don't know if I can show you. Jay showed me a way to do this, guys, but there is a way for me to show you a height anomaly at 250 millibars. It's really, really intriguing. Let me see if I can pull that up on this one here and go back and forth. If I do, I may mess this up. You know what, guys? I'll do this for about another 10, 20 minutes. And then once I'm off, I'll figure out how to pull these other products into the show. These are products that we can use, right, for educational purpose, but we don't have them loaded into our show, and I want you guys to see this. So right now I'm looking at 250 50 millibar heights, standardized anomaly. So it has to be standardized because you got to understand that if we just sat there, like everything in the atmosphere, whether it's an adiabatic, adiabatic process or something, we have to standardize everything because there's just so much in the atmosphere. So I do like the way this shows that there is a much cooler trend for central Northern California into the Pacific Northwest, and even includes portion of Southern California, then smack dab in the middle, really warm conditions, right? And then to the east of that, cool conditions. And we have, let's see, we have heights at about, this one's like 1,920. So very interesting there. So I definitely like to show you guys that. Let's also look at the wind speed. Yeah, there's definitely a wind situation where we have this area of high pressure, then we have a zonal flow where it goes so up, it's amplified, then comes right back down just past Illinois, right? So it pretty much takes the center of the nation, amplifies right over it, and then just just tapers off right after that, which leaves us with two cooler coasts, okay? But let me get back to this quickly. I'm going to remove our contour here, guys. I don't want our clouds right now. We are getting a new alert that's popping up. Wyoming, Montana, you guys are lake wind advisory. So we just said that okay, so before anybody, if you guys got on here early enough, you guys saw that I said, okay, the winds are something that I'm a little bit curious about, and I'm always curious about things like that. And lake winds advisories, that is a no-no. Like, you guys can DM me if you have any questions about lake wind advisories. I do not play away in any way with lake wind advisories. Okay, so now we're going to pull back a little bit. We're seeing some air quality issues as well. We'll get to that in just one moment. My concern, of course, would be those thunderstorms, the red flag fire weather concern. Right now, for me, lake wind advisory. Okay, let's go over this. Lake wind advisory in effect until 6 a.m. MDT Saturday, southeast winds 15 to 25 miles per hour with gusts up to 35 miles. Central and southeast Phillips, Central and Southern Valley, Garfield, Macomb and Petroleum counties. When until 6 a.m. MDT, impact strong winds and rough waves on areas, lakes will create hazardous conditions for small crafts. You guys do not want to be a part of this, okay? You do not. So let me go ahead and take that watch and warning, and let me just be really clear that that whole thing is in that gray zone right there. So let's see here. Lake. Give me a minute while I clean that up for you guys. Let's see here. Lake wind. We have lake effect. Anybody? Anybody ready for lake effects now? Anybody? You kidding? Lake effect snow. Oh my god, I cannot wait for winter. So excited. Okay. I don't think I can make that. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. Lake wind. Let's see. we'll do lake wind. Guys, give me one moment as I pull up our lake wind so we can cover that whole thing. Here we go. And it's going to be border and fill. But I want the border. Okay, so we just have to confirm that this is indeed the color. Now we have to pick this. You guys, this is like so fun. I'm just like literally. Okay. Okay. All right. So now we're going to add this to make sure that it does pop up. Okay. As a lake wind warning or advisory. Okay. Save. Okay. Should show up. Yep, there we go. So now it all showed. Did you guys see how I did that? Thank you so much for having that patience with me. But I wanted to make sure that we were really clear with that lake wind advisory because a lot of people, I take it very seriously. Like lake winds. A couple years ago when I was in Utah, I was at ABC there. It was a really sad story. Two young girls went out to go boating on a day that I would say we were really responsible. Like we were telling them, it's not advised to go on a boat. 16-year-old girls, and unfortunately the worst thing happened. So when it comes to lake wind advisories, please do not play around. That's not where you want to be. Lake wind is very dangerous, especially the direction they come in. You have to understand they also impact the surface and actually right below surface as far as the water is concerned, okay? And look at the way the winds are behaving right now. So again, we're talking about the threat of fire weather, right? So we have to be really safe, guys. Let's highlight some more of these here. We've been spending all this time in Montana, but I think they deserve it. Severe thunderstorm warning. We talked about that. Severe thunderstorm watch. We also talked about that. See this red that's populating there? That has to do with the fire weather, but sometimes there's so many, they're overlaying each other. That's just what they're doing. This looks like air quality. Yep. So air quality alert, air quality advisory from the Idaho Department of Environmental Quality. Let's see. It's forecasted to be unhealthy today until 3 p.m. MDT. Okay, so just be really aware. It's just not one of those days you really want to be out there too much. I mean, it's already evening, so you want to be for afternoon and evening. So just be mindful of that, okay? Let's go out just a little farther, and let's continue with Idaho. I love Idaho. Hello to everybody in Idaho. So beautiful. Okay, so it looks like they also have fire weather concerns, right? So let's go ahead and click on that. Let's just confirm. Yep, fire weather warning also in effect. Relative humidity 10 to 16%. Wind gusts could top out at 45 miles per hour. Isn't that wild? So that's just kind of like insanity. And then let's see. Just getting some other items that I might need. Okay. Let's see. Thank you guys for being patient. Any questions? If you do, send them to me. Okay, so I'm only getting questions here. Let's see. Who joined? Hi. Hi, guys. Chuck Nine Chip. Hi, Chuck Nine Chip. Chuck Nine Chip. Hi. So yes, I can get to any questions here. I can't get to any questions on any of our other platforms just because I'm focused just on this. But I went a little bit wider here. You see that blue up over there? That's happening above. Hold on a second. It's happening over here. Let's get to this guy right here. Let's get to this guy. See this? Let's get a question mark here. You see this right here? It's going to be a special. This is the lake wind advisory. That's the one we want to keep an eye out. This is also another one. High wind warning. So are you noticing all these wind issues, right? So oftentimes when you get the setup that you have right now with that meridional flow, you're going to find a more, what's the word? Active wind profile, agitated wind. Like I like to think of wind, like wind is something real. It's an element, right? So it's agitated. It has to balance out. But what happens is if your overall pattern is doing this, that's that meridional flow, the wind's gotta like, oh, for the love of God, really? We got to all play this little game here? Yeah. But sometimes when it's like a lot more calm and it's that zonal flow, you'll notice it's not, the wind doesn't tend to be that active. So I think this is interesting right now. I find this to be a very interesting setup. So I like covering things like this. So we're just going to talk about this a little bit more. Let's see. Let's make sure we have all this going. Okay. More stuff. We're going to go through temperatures as well, too. Okay, guys? Just give me a minute. Let's see. We've got our monsoonal influence, but we did take off our radar, I believe. So you'll see it in just 1 second. There you go. Woohoo! Oh, and then we've got some flooding concerns. So let's remove that. Let's go back and see what our question is as far as flooding. It's a flash flood watch in effect for the Park Burn Scar, which remains in the area, of course, and that's through Saturday morning. Flash flood debris, lots of rainfall, especially over a burn scar, is absolutely scary. So moderate to heavy rainfall over the park. National Weather Service forecasting moderate to heavy rainfall. So we're going to be tracking this very closely for you because lots of rain over a burn scar. We've all seen that happen around here. We do not. We definitely are sending them our prayers, and we do not want to miss that. We've got to keep an eye out there, okay? So an amplified weather pattern across the states continues to bring sharply contrasting weather conditions. Why did I do that? I just went sharply contrasting. I just did like a bebop, boy bop, hip hop thing. I think I was just like, oh, sharp, contrasting. But the reason is, so again, it goes back to the flow. That up and down, that makes it a very kind of contrarian type of flow. So it's instead of nice and flowy, instead of nice and zonal, this is not. This is an amplified meridional flow, and it features upper warm conditions for the southern plains, and it is but on either side you have two deep cold air upper lows. And then you have a trough on either side on the east and on the west coast, and a very unstable southwesterly flow. You also have the support. They say support, but I say the issue with the monsoonal flow. And so we have to always keep in mind that with a large upper low dipping into the Pacific Northwest, those very cool conditions that dampen the entire central northern portions of California, we've got to keep in mind that this monsoonal flow, which isn't too far off in the Four Corners, that generally, those different patterns like that, the atmosphere has to do something for that. Just remember, everything about weather, which is why I love it so much, is everything about weather is about achieving equilibrium and balance. Okay? But we do have really hot conditions as well, so let's continue. All right, I wanted to focus on Montana. Then I wanted to focus quickly on Idaho. I went into Oregon a bit. Then, of course, we talked about the flash flood watch there. It looks like the Sierras. And then it looks like we have another special statement issued here. This one looks interesting. Let's get it. Lake wind advisory. There you go. So, this is going to be interesting. Yeah, gusts up to 35 miles per hour, Lyon County. Mineral, southern Lyon County. So mineral and southern Lyon counties, which I forecasted for both. So small boats, kayaks, paddle boards, just don't do it. Don't go swimming. Just don't, okay? I wish I could find, let me see if I can get a video up that I'd used a few years ago. See if I can get this. Okay. All right. So let's see if I can get. Okay. So this is interesting. So let's talk about the fact that we already have 2 lake wind advisories that have been issued, one in Nevada, and that's just what looks like there are more, but Nevada, and one in Montana. And here it's like Shifting to the right is called veering and backing. Okay. But as the wind leaves the shore, it speeds up due to reduced friction. As it speeds up, it shifts right in the northern hemisphere. It would be left in the southern hemisphere. And this is when the wind shifting right tends to accelerate. So understanding that the wind is like, it's biological. It's an element. It does what it does with like the path of least resistance. So as we're reading here, it does shift to the right in the northern hemisphere, left in the southern, but the concern is that the wind is going to accelerate as it makes that right, and as it really encounters the path of least resistance, right? So that's really important. If the windward mark is downwind of a point land, you could have real trouble getting to the mark depending on the phase of the wind. Shifted right or shift left, one approach will be favored. This can change quickly as you have to look up the lake frequently to the correct side. One side may be more likely to pay based of the shorelines on either side of the point. Channeling around the bend, spreading out a bay, convergence and divergence. Like this is really huge. So the wind leaving the left shore converges into the wind over the water and adds to it. The wind entering the right shores diverge, bend away. The wind over the water and subtracts from it. So we point out that the convergence on the left shore also produces frequent left shifts. If you approach the left shore and tack the proper distance, you can ride a railroad, quote unquote, of lefties up the shore. You really better know your lake winds. That's what I'm telling you. And I'm going to guarantee you, and I'm not trying to be rude, but if you guys think I am, you can get back to me. I'm going to guarantee 99% of you do not know your wind on your lake as well as you need to when you're seeing a lake wind advisory in effect. So, as far as I'm concerned, Certified Broadcast Meteorologist Erica Martin, your friend, the person who cares about you, do not get onto a lake today. Anywhere in Nevada, it looks like most of Nevada underneath that fire weather zone. And then we've got that portion of Montana as well. So it includes central, southeast, Phillips, central, and southern Valley Petroleum, Garfield, Macomb. So that's going to be in effect until 6 a.m. MDT Saturday. All right, guys. So now we're going to move on to other parts of the nation because we have lots to go over here. This looks like another flood situation. Let me put my radar back on. Okay. We've got to get our radar on, right? And sure enough. But we're going to have to zoom in here because what we're seeing is Utah is getting slammed again. Surprise, Utah. You guys have, I think I said this last weekend. No surprise there, Utah. You guys got so much last week. Let's remove the radar. We just want to see what the watches in the mornings are, and then we'll get back to the rainfall rate. Flash flood warning. Let's see here. Southern Utah at 5:20 p.m. MDT. So just a few minutes ago. We're PDT. Doppler radar indicated thunderstorm producing heavy rain across the warned area. Between a half an inch to an inch and a half of rain have fallen. Flash flooding is ongoing, expected to begin shortly. Now, guys, I don't know if you're familiar with this area, but this is another area where a horrible story came to us after we warned people. So, like in these areas, there are a lot of slot canyons, and you do not want to play around, okay? Like, you can't get out. Whenever you see these flash flood warnings or flood watches or advisories or any type of alert, you don't want to be there. This is not something you can get out of. I'm going to go over to Colorado for 1 minute because this one's interesting to me. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and penny-size hail. Up, and let me get my storm tracks. Hang on, guys. They're coming. We are listing our storm tracks. Let's take a look at them. Alrighty. Let's see where my storm tracks are. Let's see if I had to get my storm tracks. Maybe they were here. Storm tracks. Okay. You guys remember my storm tracks, right? We're trying to get these on here. Hang on. I want to show you guys my storm tracks. They're pretty awesome. Let's see if I can get this on my hail outlook. Let's see what happens here if I just add a storm track. Storm track. No, this does it have a storm track? Oh, it does. Okay. Okay. Huh. All right, let's get our, we're going to get our, let's see, we're going to see what we have here. Velocity, let's take a look at our velocity quickly while we can, because I'm looking for the storm tracks. So like I have these little icons that I put on and it gives you the impact and the strength of those. This should be, let's see, our velocity track, and let's pick up our sweeping radar. Okay, we have one over St. Louis. But let's see, who else do we have? Let's see, let's pick up Utah because they had some interesting weather. Let's pick up, for now, let's see who we have here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So we were looking, I really like Utah's radar, by the way. Like their tilt is phenomenal. They have a really, really great product. Okay, let's pick up another one. Who's asking? When you can, could you take what peak at Grand Forks, North Dakota? Got a niece currently moving into her dorm. Oh, she went to University of North Dakota. Right on. I'll be there in 2 seconds. Of course. Let me just take a quick look here at our Velocity product. That's one of our weather watchers, and honestly, super weather enthusiast, Dave Velez. Let's go ahead and see what your niece is up to. Make sure she's okay. We're going to take this, and we're going to move this across the board here. Let's see what we have for local storm reports. Okay. Alrighty. Alright guys, thank you for your patience. Local storm reports. Here we go. That's not gonna, what we'll do is we will, let's see here, alerts. Maybe this one. I'll get to you, Dave, in just 1 second. We're kind of going through everything. As you can see, I'm removing radars on some. I'm removing winds on others because I'm just getting, like, it's a lot, and I don't want people to feel like they can't see, like, their storm tracks and things of that nature. Okay, so now we're going to have all storms, right? And then I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go back to North Dakota. Okay. We're really happy here. We'll move. Okay, I'm going to move this up here. Okay. So because this is all in live time, and this is actually how the app operates as well, we are just making sure that this particular item that I want for Dave and his family to have, that they can see. Okay. So we started off there. Let's load that. Thank you guys for being so patient. I promise I'm all over this right now, guys. Hi, across all of our platforms. Oh, we're getting questions over here as well. All right, guess who will soon need an assistant? Just guess. One wild guess. One wild guess. Let's see what our little marching orders are. Wow. So what made her go to North Dakota? I'm just so curious. Like, what was it? She was like, I'm going to North Dakota because it's... Did she have a lot of friends there, Dave? I'm curious. You know? Like, I really want to know what made her go there. That's so crazy. Okay, so so right now I'm is she in Bismarck? Where did you say she was again? She's at the University of North Dakota. We're seeing lots of clouds develop. We're seeing some influence coming into that region as far as rain goes, but we can zoom in right now. Oh, and they're getting some rain. They are getting some rain. All right, Dave, what school again was it? I'm sorry. You kind of have gone, your stuff has all the way gone to the top again. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's see who's out there. Yeah, what's up, guys? Okay. She doesn't. She said that the first college that accepted. Oh, she took it. So she took it. Oh, I love that. That's such a great attitude. She's going to love it in North Dakota. Everybody's so nice there. Okay, so let's see. So let's remove the clouds, right? We don't want the clouds. We want to see. There are no reports right now. Just getting some isolated showers. That's not a big deal. So for right now, things are okay. Let's take a look at her current temperatures. That's for sure, right? We want to see what's happening. What's happening here? North Dakota, you're in the 80s, mainly 80s. Okay, and if we went over here and we zoomed in, what do we have here? This is some good stuff, guys. Really, really good stuff. I'm going to zoom on and I actually set this all up for you. Okay. Woo, 84. I was focusing on Montana, but I can actually add some more. So let's see. Yes, University of North Dakota. I'm so excited for her. Let me just make sure I get the right town. So awesome. So Grand Forks. Okay. So we'll definitely look at Grand Forks, and that's what we're going to do. Give me 1 second, and what we're going to do is we're just going to, you guys are actually going to see this in real time. I'm pretty transparent about everything I do. Doesn't matter, because as long as you know what you're doing the way I know what I'm doing, it always is a good thing. Let's just make sure we get everybody taken care of. Bowman, Fargo, Grand Forks. Got it. Okay, done. All right, we got all of our peeps. Okay, so now we're going to save this. Make sure that we get your Grand Forks in there. Save it. All right, guys. Okay. We're going to delete a couple of other items that we have in here that are taking up some space. And I think that's okay. All righty. Let's just take that out. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and save it. File, save that. You guys are, like I said, you guys are actually working with me as I'm keeping you guys updated in real time. Now what we're going to do is we're going to remove this one, and then we're going to pop this one. Okay. There we go. All right. So let's see here. All right, Grand Forks. Here we go, sir. Let's pull in, see what we got going on here. Okay. So Grand Forks. Temperatures are in the 80s, low 80s. Let's do a sweeping radar on top of it. Looks like we're seeing some isolated sprinkles, something out there, but that has to do a lot with the colder air that we're seeing that's filtering in, right? So one of the things I say to everybody, cold air cannot hold water as long, right? So it's a lot more dense. An atmosphere that is cold is more dense, and it can't hold water as long, so sometimes it'll release the droplets a little bit sooner, right? Squeeze it out, where warm air masses can hang on to any precipitable water a lot longer, okay? So just a little fun fact there in case you guys wanted to know more about precipitable water. Okay, so we're at Grand Forks. Let's give my friend, our weather watcher, let's see what else. We can give him, let's see, we got him our radar. We can get him some clouds. Do we really want our clouds on there? Nah, we don't want. Let's look at our U.S. watches and warnings. See what we get here. U.S. watches. And it's just giving us some right here. See, there's nothing for North Dakota. There now doesn't mean that by tomorrow there won't be, and I'll tell you why. Because to be quite honest, this is going to continue to migrate, right? And the problem they have is this really strong, what's the word? Weather pattern that is just fluctuating, right? Like I was saying earlier, that meridional flow. All right, so we're gonna go back to our main watches and warnings. Okay, pause due to, there you go. We're back. Hi guys. We are back. I hope everybody's having a wonderful start to your weekend. What's going on here? Let's see. Questions, North Dakota. We took care of it. Of course, I'm the best. You're the best, Dave. Thank you. Anybody else have some good weather questions about this upcoming weekend? We just took care of one question for our good friend Dave, whose niece is starting at the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks. I think that's so cool. Hi, Chuck Chip. So excited. Do you have any weather questions, Chuck Chip? You got to ask me. Let's see. We're going to remove the radar one more time. We're going to go ahead and start addressing some of these issues over Colorado. Severe thunderstorm warning. What did we just say? We thought that was going to be the problem, right? So now it's about like us making sure we address all these issues, right? like severe thunderstorm warning. Now we're moving up from, Colorado to, hold on a second, up and along the northern Rockies. And we just want to make sure that everybody is taken care of and everybody is watched after, okay? My computer. Then we'll get into our temperatures and things of that nature. But sometimes you got to just focus on these things first. These to me are more important. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, we have our severe thunderstorm. Right, we have our severe thunderstorm. We've got, what do I think this is going to behave like? Maybe I could do like a quick, it looks like a special weather statement underneath that too. I don't know. Can you guys see that right there? Do you see? Oh, there you go. See? I've been doing this way too long. So I know, I'm like, looks like a special weather statement. I'm going to say it's got to be, so when you look at those weather statements that are underneath something like a severe thunderstorm, it must mean that they saw something and maybe there's something that's Doppler indicated. So let's take a look. Thank you for tuning in to watch with Erica Martine and to watch Weather Co-op, where weather meets community. What did they say? This is what I said. Source radar indicated at 5:41 p.m. MDT, that's local time, Doppler radar was tracking a strong thunderstorm along a line extending 7 miles east of Lake Miniature State Recreation Area, the Bridgeport State Recreation Area, to 10 miles north of West Plains. Movement was northeast at 30 miles per hour. That's a strong storm cell. Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to go into our investigative mode. This is CSI weather. Okay, so now I'm going to remove this because I don't know. I don't need to see this right now, okay? But now I'm going to go and put in a couple of really important things. I want to look at some important values, okay, that you're going to see now. They're going to pop up and you're going to be like, Erica, what is that? And I'm going to tell you what they are coming up just one bit. Okay? Maximum updraft velocity. Let's do a vertically integrated. Hold on. No. I'm going to pick up. I'm going to pick some of my severe products, okay? This is what I care about right now. Absolute vorticity. Let's see what happens here. If that was a strong cell, yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. So you see where all of these storm alerts are popping up by, and in fact, just to the west and to the east of where that little zone is, like Nebraska, Colorado. Do you see that, like that state line there? Then that right there is telling me that this is going to be an area of interest. Let me remove the clouds because the clouds are distracting me. But we have to find out more as far as that's concerned because we need to know if something is possible, considering they just had a Doppler indicated one, right? So that means like, okay, we saw the radar, that was interesting, but a Doppler indicated would tell me that they saw something like a couplet, right? There were a line of storms. One storm probably got all like huffy puffy and gave us a signature that was alarming, and I'm assuming we may have seen a couplet. So I just want to make sure that we're focusing on this area here. Let me see if I can highlight. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. I'm going to zoom in. Do you see this this area that's in the yellow with that beige underneath? So it's Colorado over into Nebraska. And then right behind it, I added what we refer to as our absolute vorticity because that measures the rotation of the fluid and really is one of those key features that we need in order to understand curvature, spin, shear, things of that nature. And it's also really important because it's the sum of relative vorticity of an air parcel, which is the rotation of the fluid relative to the earth, and the vorticity is imparted to the air parcel by the Earth's rotation, and blah, 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 on and on and on. This has to do with the potential for anything like a tornado, right? So that's why we want to look at that. These values aren't too high underneath it or around it, but we're still going to pay attention to that. So let's go ahead and take a look at a different product. Absolute vorticity is fine. It's interesting, especially since they have a special weather statement indicating that there is a Doppler radar indicated signature, right? So we're like, okay, we get it. Um, let's see if we can do something else where we go a little bit like a little bit wide, right? And it brings us down. Okay. Let's see what this has. Yeah, we're gonna put that to sleep. Not doing us any good here. But okay. Here we go. Alrighty. Yeah, so what we're seeing right now includes all of these. Let's see if we can squeeze on by. I'm not sure why we should have this. It's not giving me my temps the way I need it, but no worries. We're going to get back to that. So what we're seeing here is, yeah, going back to these alerts. So yeah, I think what's interesting is that we're seeing these pretty high values for absolute vorticity. We're also focusing on that monsoonal influence, guys. If you look over the four corners, that's really important as well, because we want to keep in mind that there is the threat, of course, of flooding. So that deep, unstable southwesterly flow between the ridge and that upper level low near the Pacific Northwest. We were talking about that, right? And you saw how gnarly those winds were looking, for lack of a better word. They had a really strong southerly tropical influence, but as they bump up to this area that's hovering over the Pacific Northwest, you're definitely going to see some impact there. So the contrasting weather conditions are what we have to be mindful of, and this weather pattern features a warm upper high over the southern plains, which is what we were just looking at, right? And it was sandwiched between two cold upper level lows and troughs on either side. So remember, then this goes like this, right? Woo, right? It's like peak and valley, right? And so remember, when you're thinking of things like that, even in the atmosphere, you're like, oh, but Erica, it's in the atmosphere. Yeah, but those winds, when they have to do things like that, they don't like it because it does make them a lot stronger. Like think of even like downslope winds. Think of things like orographic lifting, orographic winds, things of that nature. So even in the, I mean, it's not esoteric by any means, but even in the world of a thermal profile of the atmosphere, that wind does have to do a lot. It really does. So that's what we're seeing here. So, but I want to go back to, looks like a lot of watch flood alerts are starting to populate across the four corners, right? So, hi guys. Okay, so now we're going into the flash flood threat for today, but we do see the issues, especially for burn scars, a big problem. Meanwhile, critical fire weather danger forecasted for the Great Basin under gusty and dry conditions behind that cold front. Don't like it at all. Let me add the winds if I can right here, right now. If I can, that would be great. If I can't, no worry. Yeah, so once we look at that cold front, right, and then we start thinking about the this kind of wind profile along with that frontal boundary, that cold front, and then really thinking about the low relative humidity, limited precipitable water, or PWAT values, AWT values, or we start to look at what's happening at 500 millibars, 300 millibars, 250 millibars, and then we start to see that there's just a lot going on throughout each layer of the atmosphere. Then this is when we start to get really concerned about critical fire weather danger. So, guys, if you live in the Great Basin but have friends in the Great Basin, just think about, and we're even going into the northern plain states. Some of you might refer to it as the Intermountain West, the Great Basin. Of course, that incorporates portions of that, but just keep in mind you're seeing that bright red there, alerting us of major critical fire weather concerns. So that's going to be a problem for this weekend. Please keep an eye out for that. If you see something, say something. You call the authorities so quickly. I don't care if it's like a mistake and it was just like one little person put out their cigarette. I don't care. You guys have to call because conditions right now are very dry. The winds are very aggressive and they're only going to get worse over the next couple of hours. So anything you see, you certainly want to make sure that people are aware of. Then we have the concern of lake winds, right? That was for portions of Montana. That also included parts of Nevada as well. So we've got to be mindful. And if you look at this right now, I mean, just take a look at what's happening here. This is a really great image. Again, across all of our platforms, look at how beautiful this is. So you have this upper level trough, or this low. You have this cold front that's going to dig on down. And what's interesting about this is you have to contend with the monsoonal flow, right? I think this is fascinating. Like, this is really fascinating because of the direction of the monsoonal flow, right? So I think this is, so you've got an area of low pressure, right? But then you've got this area of high pressure, which is how a monsoonal flow operates. So some people will just think like, oh, because they see rain and they see instability, they'll think, oh, low pressure because that's what that, no. A monsoonal flow, it operates high pressure, right? So it operates in that clockwise circulation here in the northern hemisphere. But then you have this trough to the northwest over the Pacific Northwest that's operating in the opposite direction, right? So all these winds, this is what this is really referencing, is that there's a lot going on there. So we have to be really mindful. Still looking at, okay, my little icon is back. For some reason, he wasn't working. He really wasn't in the mood. Oh, and these storm cells right here. Okay, here we go. Let's do some storm tracks. Let's see what we have here. Some of the properties. Appearance. Storm reports. Storm tracks. Let's look at our storm tracks. Storm tracks. Yay. Let's get them all out there. Meso, hail, strong. I know these should be populating pretty soon. Where are they? Okay. All right. So let's see. System time now. Oh, we'll do, let's see. Maybe we can do last hour. Let's see if we just do now as well. Because it'll stop everything. Are you guys seeing this? I'm just going last hour, and then I'll just adjust my data time as well for the hour. Do you see it? I'm just focused on the last hour. Okay, we're seeing something in Texas as well, guys. All right, we're all over that one as well. This one is going to be very important to me. Let me pull up another product here. Oh, moving into Nebraska, guys. That's the one that we want to keep an eye out on, okay? Nebraska. Let's see what's happening here. We still have our severe thunderstorm warning. We're going into Dallas right now, or just outside, here we go. Rainfall rate. Well, we're going to just not deal with that right now. Severe thunderstorm warning. And this is for immediate broadcast requests. So this is why we're doing this live for you, and we continue to do this live. So this is for, so if you were in that DMA, this is the beauty about what we're doing here when we live stream and we use our over-the-top methodology at Weather Co-op. When we do that, we're able to bypass all that, right? Because you have to go DMA to DMA, and that was always something that I think personally bugged me. I remember in 2022 when we had the line of storms that became tornadic in Missouri, and we couldn't here in LA talk about it, when I'm like, you do have family members. People have friends and family in Missouri. I know people. I don't have friends there, but I know people there. I have colleagues there. I don't have family members there, but I don't family, but there. It doesn't matter. I have acquaintances, and some people may have friends and family. I remember that, and that was always one of the last worst memories I had about working in linear TV. I was just over it. But this is why. So they're talking about, if you're in that area, you must go on air right now and talk about it. So, National Weather Service in San Angelo has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Shackelford County in west central Texas until 8 p.m. CDT. At 7:11 p.m., a severe thunderstorm watch or severe thunderstorm was located near Fort Griffin and is nearly stationary. Yikes. Okay. So hazard 60 miles per hour as far as the wind gusts go, MP size hail, radar indicated. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and remove this, right? Let's see what we got here. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Let's see this guy here. Oh, where did we go? Okay. Well, let's get over here. Come on. Come on. Here we go. Come on. There's a little bit, I don't know if it's just the way I'm dragging. Okay, yeah, these seem really interesting. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to remove all the watches and warnings. Okay. We'll now remove the contour of the clouds. Okay. Well, now let's see if we can add a really significant tornado parameter. Let's see what happens here. Okay. We've added that as one of our variables. Let's see what we have here. Okay. We're going to move that here. I'm going to keep the wind off, okay? In a second, I'll put it back on, but I think it's interesting to me to just keep it off. Abilene. Hi, Abilene. Everybody's really nice there. Graham, everybody's so nice there, too. Okay, let's see what we have here. What other contours could we add here? Apart from... we have our significant parameter. We have our maximum updraft velocity, maximum updraft helicity. Let's see what we have there. We've just clicked this on. Okay. So I don't see anything right now that's possibly going tornadic. Doesn't mean it couldn't cause some really bad stuff, right? Like you could definitely get really strong damaging winds, lots of rain in a short amount of time. So let's just go ahead and focus on that. Let me add some other products. And remember, we're focused here in Stamford, Breckenridge, Cisco, Winters, Abilene, Coahoma, Sterling City, Snyder, Post, Brownwood, Hamilton, Stephenville. Stephenville! That's where I actually intercepted with Jay my very first tornado. So hi, everybody in Stephenville. My mom loved Stephenville, by the way. Absolutely loved it. Here's our SIN value. Let's take a look at what our SIN values would indicate. Very nice, very nice. This is kind of what I was thinking. So let's see here what we have and how we should, let's see what we should, okay, so it's going to be right around Abilene. Can we, okay, these values are a little bit higher. Let's see if we can add a legend, possibly. If we could add a legend, that would be great. Because this is definitely giving us above a 50 as far as the SIN value. So let's see here. We want to know what that could be like. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to see if our contour number, maximum updraft helicity doesn't go on. Absolute vorticity, you guys know this is always one of my favorites. You guys know this because we need to know if there is anything happening. And this one cell that's moving through Abilene and towards Let's see here. Let's see who this is. This is definitely Baird. Baird. Let's see what's happening here. Let me get my storm tracks going. Not sure what my properties are for my storm tracks, queries, my palettes. Let's see. Storm track. Okay. Let's see. Storm track. Let's see if I can get a storm track over here. Okay. Let's see here. Looks like these storm tracks might populate. Let's see here. Okay. We need to see what's happening. I know, guys, bear with me. I'm just trying to make sure that we can see if we have any storm tracks that we would want to show and make sure that we have any idea. Storm track, mezzo, hail, early, okay? Let's zoom in and let's see what we might have here. Don't see that that could be just cause a lot of damaging wind. But let's see here. Do you see this big flow here? Do you see this? Wow, it's all that monsoonal influence. Do you see the clockwork circulation? And do you see this up here? This is so beautiful. So do you see if I were to add winds? Watch what would happen with the winds, guys. 1 second, right here. I'm going to add winds. 2, 3. Let's see. Can I get my winds in here? Can I get my wind particles? No. No, my storm tracks. I need them. My wind particles. Look what happens. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Do you see what's happening here with our wind profile? This is absolutely just so beautiful. So I just checked off our wind particles because I thought to myself, who needs these wind particles for 1 second as I look at what's happening across, I think it was North Dakota. Then we were in Montana. We were in Wyoming. We were also in Dallas. And now we went back to say, we've got this monsoonal influence. We know that a monsoonal influence does operate in the clockwise circulation, but we do know we have a disturbing low, a low that's a disturbance, right? A feature that's hovering over the Pacific Northwest. Look at the counterclockwise circulation. Then I said, well, let's add the winds because we're seeing lots of wind issues for lake winds across much of Nevada and also for portions of Montana, right? So let's take a look here. We then add our winds and look at that. Look what happens here, guys. Our wind profile is insanity. Look what happens. It actually gets lifted. Look at this line right here. Let me see if I can add something with this. Selection tool. Let's see if I can do this. Look, let me see. I have so many options here for this. Let's see if I can get something else. Hi, guys. Let's see. Remove that. Let me see if I can add, if I can show you something really neat, like kind of just this little box here. Okay. Okay. So do you see? Do you see how this is doing this? Okay. So now we're going to go. Okay, so here, right here, we've got our clockwise circulation, right? Here is our monsoonal influence over the desert southwest, right? So if you guys are on weathercoop.com and Weather Co-op, you'll be able to see all this. So here we have our clockwise circulation, and then to the northwest, we have our counterclockwise circulation, right? So what we do have is this wind profile. The winds are very aggressive. As we said, it's a meridional flow. It's a meridional pattern, which tends to do this. We've got that peak in the middle of the country with those valleys on either side of it. So the winds have to work really hard. And as you can see here, to the west, let's look at the west coast, right? And then look at the east coast. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Oh, this is so fascinating. Do you see this? If you look, you can see, I'm going to actually go ahead and take these wind particles. I'm going to make them a little bit more dense just so that you can see them. And I'm going to make them appearances. I'm going to make them, let's see, maybe I'll make them a little bit. No, I'll take it off. We'll just go with the Beaufort scale. Okay. But do you see here that I've, okay, I just went and I adjusted the winds. Okay, if you're looking at the wind profile right now on our other platforms, you're going to see what I was just telling you. So it's like if you look at the nation, right? Now, when you're looking at the nation, so remember, we call this CONUS, contiguous US, contiguous United States. That's how we refer to what we're covering here across North America, United States for me, really. I always cover everything for the United States, although I do global forecasts, as you all know as well. So here we are. Do you see how we have that clockwise circulation over the desert Southwest, right? But over the Great Basin, there's an influence of that upper level low that's affecting and impacting the Pacific Northwest, right? But if you take those and then overlay the wind, look what happens with the wind. Those two systems, the area of high pressure or the monsoonal influence and that upper level low, are actually pulling the wind in like a funnel. So this is what's happening. It's really kind of becoming unstable, and this is why we're seeing those lake wind advisories. I'd really be mindful of that for several of you across the, several of you across the northern plains, also the Great Basin. We're seeing some concerns for lake winds being an issue. And so now I'm going to remove the winds because it's a lot for me to look at right now. I'm also going to remove our contour for clouds, and I'm going to bring you back and center you over because my bigger concern was or is or are these storm cells. So look at that one that I talked to you about earlier. It was the one that was crossing Colorado into Nebraska. Makes sense. And then look what happens right in the center of the nation. Look at all that orange telling us that we have those heat advisory, heat alert, heat concerns. But on the East Coast and on the West Coast, it's actually cooler than normal, right? So that's pretty interesting there. I want to make sure I have my storm tracks. They're being a little difficult. I'm not sure why, but we're going to go ahead and make sure that we get them. All right. We also have a few interesting items that I do have to bring up. High wind warning, we just talked about it, guys. Do you understand that it's one thing to get these forecasts like after the fact or those backcasts, but right now, certified broadcast meteorologist, I am bringing you these updates in real time with products that nobody else has, simply because I've spent 7 years of my life testing this and wanting to see if this would work. It's so important for me to get you guys this information right now. So a friend of mine, for example, one of our weather watchers, asked about North Dakota. But once again, right here, I want to show you something. I'm going to that's a pretty interesting graphic that's happening over, an alert rather, that's happening over there in Nebraska. Let me get this out of here. Hang on. Okay, here we go. So once again, I'm going to leave it right here. What did I say? Monsoonal influence. You guys are seeing flood warnings, flood alerts being issued. You're also seeing thunderstorms, all of those kinds of alerts being issued for portions of the Sierra Nevadas. You're also seeing flood watches. But okay, let's take a look right now. We're going to say we've got this area of high pressure, that upper level low, and the wind profile. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this, guys. This is what we do here at Weather Co-op, where weather meets community. It's up to me to have my weather skills so on par that it takes care of everything you've got to take care of in your weather community. This is important because what we have is this upper level low. We have this really strong area of high pressure, that monsoonal influence, and the wind's like, oh, we got to go somewhere. So they're going to go path of least resistance. They're going to go right between the two, sandwich up. And I don't know if you guys know this, when we're talking about different isohypses, isopleths, isotherms, areas of equal. So when we talk about isotherms, it would be areas that have equal pressure. So that's what you really want to think about, things of that nature. So these are, let's see something. This is really important for us to know because we want to know what is the the areas of equal pressure, right? So what are your isobars? Like what do they look like? Because we want to know like where is this pressure really a problem and where's the difference in this pressure going to be the greatest, because we know that that might be the most active as far as winds go. Okay, I'm just looking at something really quickly. So we go. Okay. So yeah, and then if you go right over Colorado, look at that. If you go like right around Denver, do you see like these little smaller features that are being developed? This makes sense. This totally makes sense to me. So this is telling me that within these larger weather features, by the way, I want to be very clear about monsoonal flow. Some people may miscategorize the size of it, right? Because we do have different things that I got to go over as far as signs about what they're considered. Are they macro scale? Are they micro scale? What kind of features are they? We need to know, let's see, anticyclonic. Let's just see what size they would absolutely fall underneath, because I just want to make sure that we are always aware and really accurate when it comes to what these features include. Okay, so this circulation and where it falls under, it would fall under a macro, right? So it's a larger scale, but it is only certain times of the year. And we've got this updated. All right, guys, I'm going to remove the wind profile right now, and we're headed up to Nebraska. Oh, yeah, this is big time here. All right, let's see here. Wow. Okay, so now Utah, you guys also, it looks like you might have for one of your lakes. Let's see here. Okay. Aviation weather warning at SLC Airport. Guys, be safe. We also have flash flood warning. Grand Junction, Colorado. And then this is the cell that we're going to look at right now. Let's take a look. Bear with me. Bear with me. We're still under that severe thunderstorm warning there for the border of Colorado and Nebraska. I want to take a look. One more thing here. Okay. Yeah, they've just been so severe potential watching. That's really interesting. So let's see here. Okay. Isolated threat for wind hail damage, which we talked about. That was going to be the main thing that we saw. Mid-level heights are being suppressed a bit over central eastern Montana along the eastern influence of a short wave trough that is ejecting north across the northern Rockies. So we had said this. The northern Rockies were a bit of a nuisance right now, only because of everything that's setting up there. While large-scale influence of this feature will likely remain focused across western Montana, strong boundary layer heating has contributed to a steep 0 to 3 kilometer lapse rate. So anytime we're talking about a steep lapse rate, that's when we're talking about the threat of instability. We want to look at things like the lapse rate. 0 to 3 kilometer lapse rate, something I'm going to pay attention to. But what I do like is that they're mentioning the suppression somewhat of the mid-level heights. That's going to be very important as well, and how that trough is ejecting north across the northern Rockies. So it's not going to really love bumping into that monsoonal or anticyclonic flow. That's what that monsoonal, because it's a high pressure system, it's anticyclonic, okay? So strong boundary layer heating has contributed to a steep lapse rate, as we just said. Convective temperature has been breached and negligible. The SIN value supported by thickening of the boundary layer, and isolated thunderstorms. We have clustering is occurring within a zone favorable of low-level confluence and along an instability axis where the ML Cape values are in excess of 2,000 joules per kilogram. So now we're talking about, so this is where we get, oh my God, when you're talking about joules per kilogram, you're talking about the amount of energy that's available, right? Because they want to know like the mid-level cap rate, like, or cape, the mid-level cape rate or cape value, and it is 2,000 joules per kilogram. There is some concern a few robust updrafts will evolve across eastern Montana over the next few hours, which is what we said when we started off. I was like, I know we have a whole country to go across, but we got to focus on Montana right now. And then if I quickly add the wind particles, I think you're going to agree with me. Look at this. Yeah, see? See, did I make it up? I didn't make it up. I'm telling you guys that this is where I think we're going to see the bigger concerns, right? So don't think that I'm not showing your town or your city or your state some love. It's just that we have to look at the immediate concerns. What could become very, very active? As you can see here, I said, let me take off the winds. No winds. No winds, but I was like, it doesn't make any sense, right? I want to see what's happening. Why are these winds? Like, they are behaving in a way that they're really aggressive. That's not what winds do. Like, I know winds, people think of winds as like being this aggressive thing. They can knock your house over. Well, only if it's like unstable. They've got to stabilize. You got to understand the position of the wind as well. Wind's got to do what a wind's got to do. So in this case, as we put the wind profile back on, look at this. Hello, I would also take the path of least resistance, right? So there you go. But let's go back to what we were talking about earlier because I thought this was absolutely fascinating. So this clustering is occurring within a zone of favorable low-level confluence. Confluence out, right? Confluence is out. So we just want to make sure that we're always clear what these terms mean. Otherwise, we're just going to be stuck here looking at like, well, what does confluence mean, Erica? And I will tell you, and then you'll be like, great. So we have to just make sure that everybody understands what's happening here. Okay. Alrighty, 1 second. Let's get it. Okay, got it. Okay. So what we're going to be seeing here is, okay, wait, we're going back. So, right, so we have this convective temperature, we have this low-level confluence, and then we have an instability, favorable, blah, blah, blah. We have the confluence in, did I say out or in? Good grief. Difluence, confluence. Difluence, confluence. Thank you for keeping me in my brain because I've got so much that I'm looking at right now. Confluence, difluence. So, and remember, we talked about in excess of 2,000 joules per kilogram. There is some concern for robust updrafts, right? Updrafts, confluence together in downdrafts, microbursts out, difluence out, okay? So we'll evolve across eastern Montana over the next few hours as surface 6-kilometer bulk shear. There we go. We love you. When I start looking at those terms like bulk Richardson shear, but it's bulk shear. It's not entirely clear how many storms will evolve. Another concern is any storms that linger beyond sunset will be strengthening, and they just made another update. Oh, this is good stuff here. Another concern is any storms that linger beyond sunset will eventually be aided by strengthening lower level jet. Guys, we could see some nocturnal tornadoes. Okay, we'll continue to monitor this region, but at this time, it's a watch that at this time, a watch is not currently anticipated. What they'll do is they'll make special weather statements, which looks like what they did just now, okay? So that's what they're going to be doing. And so you can look here. Let me take a look. If you guys are looking at the graphic, which you should be, let's go ahead and take a look at, let's remove that flash flood warning. Okay. And let's see. Okay, so we're looking at the fire weather warning, right? But what I said to you all was, I want to show you that this is where our anticyclonic motion, come on, is the main feature over there, over across the four corners, right? The desert Southwest. You see that? You see how it's anticyclonic or clockwise. And then do you see over here above like the Great Basin into the Pacific Northwest, you get a cyclonic motion or counterclockwise circulation. And then I was like, well, I don't want to see the winds right now because I just don't care what they're doing, because I want to kind of give you guys a big like southpaw, show you guys what's happening in the atmosphere. Look, well, we're like, what's up with all these winds? And then you're looking at these values that are increasing quite a bit. And then you're talking about the confluence of winds, the winds coming together with the updraft, right? Let's take a look. Is that true? Facts. This is nothing but facts, guys. We are dropping serious knowledge. This is more than just weather that I do for you guys. I want you guys to understand the whys. I want you guys to understand that when you see something like this, it's going to make more sense to you. Hey, do you have friends? We have friends in Wyoming. Hey guys, you guys are under critical fire weather concerns, like that area. And with all that wind there, man, all you need is one lightning strike. All you need is one quick brush fire, and you've got a problem with those winds. So this is why all of these things have to be put into play and observed and analyzed. But once again, we were talking about our first state that we were talking about, that we were like, guys, we got to focus on Montana. They have something new that's just popped up. Oh, their lake. So they have that lake wind advisory that has been issued. And once again, I do not play when it comes to lake wind. I read something to you earlier, guys. If you guys want more lake wind advisories. Okay, let's just do it. I mean, because sometimes you guys think, oh, Erica goes on like on and on. No. No. This is, I don't do this for, just because I want to do this. I'm doing this because it's really important. So let's see something. We want to talk about danger. Lake wind. Because there was a story like I think I told you guys about. I do not. This is a good one. Lake Tahoe wind, not a trifling gust to mess with when paddling. Oh, this is a really good one. So Lake Tahoe, Lake Tahoe watertrail.org. Oh my God, that was my first. So I don't know if you guys know, that was my first job. That was my first weather market. And oh my God, it's so cool up there. They have the best National Weather Service. But I tell you what, people just do not take the advice that we give them. It's nature. People just want to do things. And it's like, no. You do not want to be in any shape or form on Lake Tahoe. That's for darn sure, when we've got lake wind concerns. So, we want to make sure that you guys are safe because of the potential for drowning, really. Okay, so now we've got some more. We're seeing some special statements issued just north of Glasgow, and we're going to get to that in one moment. I'm going to pull off these winds because, boy, there's just so much going on here. We're going to, oh, look at this. So there's some more alerts that are kind of just popping up here. Yeah, it's an active afternoon, active evening. So it's 5:41 p.m. PDT. Mountain, it's 6:41, and then we go Central, 7:41. Right? And then Eastern, 9:41 or 8:41. 9:41. 8:41. Okay. We got that going. And this looks like something hydrologic. Let me see. Let's click on this one right here. I think this is intriguing. Air quality. Okay. Air quality. Shelby Health County. Shelby County Health. We have more air quality issued here. Chuckawalla Mountain. Abilene, you guys still have that storm, but look what happens here, guys. Let's zoom in. I'm going to zoom in here. This looks really interesting to me. This one still looks interesting. Now there's like 3 on top, like there are 3 on each other. And this one's starting, there's a little bit of a bow on that one. Hang on, let me look at this one. It's moving. Let's get a name here. Can we get a name? Can we get a name? Why can't I get a name? Be nice if I got a name. Okay, let's just get a different one. Let's get a name. Seriously. How can I not have a name? I need a name. Where are we talking about? Let me just get the contours off like this. Like, no way I can see all this. Okay. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, Sydney, Dalton, Nebraska, Sterling, Colorado, Ovid, Holyoke, Yuma, right? So we're going from Colorado to Nebraska. We're going to keep an eye on this one guy right here moving towards Lisco. That's an interesting guy right there, an interesting storm cell. Let's see what we have going on here. Yep, that's the one. Well, that's the one Storm Prediction Center was talking about anyhow, but this is what we're looking at. Sydney, Lisco, that's the one. Let me pull up something else. Let me see if I can get a... How do I not have a storm track here? Seriously. have all my properties on. I'm getting a little irritated. Why can't I get... Let me try this one here. Guys, forgive me as I like move from one graphic to another because I'm not seeing something that I need to see. Let's see here. Alrighty. Well, this is my main show. Okay, guys, I have like so many shows that are listed here, but I want to make sure that I have the right product. You guys can see that my area of interest is that that little zone, Denver into, Colorado into Nebraska. Okay, that's what I'm interested in right now. And for the love of humanity, I'm not sure why it's just being kind of difficult. Let me just drag something else out there. Okay, I'm going to drag this into my main show. I mean, I do expect a lot from my from my stuff. I really do. I'm kind of like, listen, give me what I need here. Let's not play little games. I definitely know what I need here. And in this case, it's going to be, let's see. See if we can get all this going. This looks pretty good. Let's see if I can get my storm tracks. Okay. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. We're just getting on these alerts that are happening across much of, let's see, the Northern Plains, Central Plains, the Northern Rockies, the Great Basin, lots of activity, that monsoonal flow, upper level low across the Pacific Northwest into portions of the Great Basin and the Northern Plains. So when we added the idea of this wind particle, this profile, you see what happens? Like they all rush right in between. If you look right above like Oregon, Washington State, Northern California, Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, right? Do you see like that counterclockwise circulation, or cyclonic as we refer to it, right? But then if you look to the southeast, you'll see a clockwise circulation or anticyclonic, but then you see how that wind rushes right in between the two? That's just the path of least resistance, right? But because you're pressuring these gradients, like everything is so tight and these winds have to go through, they're like rushing through and they are coming together, right? So they're referred to as they're the confluence of these winds coming together and then going up. So they come together and then they go up, right? So then you start thinking of things like updraft. Now, if we say the diffluence, I think that comes down. I think I got that mixed up earlier, but that comes down, right? But this is what we're looking at right now is the confluence of the winds that are really finding the path of least resistance when it comes to that upper level low and that monsoonal flow. Okay? Wasn't meant to rhyme, but it did. So I do think that that's interesting there. Cooler than normal conditions for the East Coast, cooler for the West Coast. We're also seeing some flood concerns for some in, let's see, in the Sierra Nevadas. We also are seeing lots of concern for heat for the center of the nation, which we talked about that wasn't going to be something that was a surprise to anybody. But one thing I'm looking for right now that I am quite surprised about, to be quite fair, is I'm a little... Oh, that's not what I want to show you guys. You guys are looking at one of my graphics that you guys should not be seeing. I mean, you can see it. It's just that I'm building something a little bit unique and different here. So feel free if you want to see it. Let me just close this up. This is my Virginia basket. I have all of my states here. Puerto Rico, Guam. I even cover Guam. Yeah, I mean, you gotta cover Guam. Kidding me? So many good things happen there. Like, it's Guam. Our soldiers. Okay. So, once again, I'm just doing my best to get our let's see, our storm tracks. We might get it here. Let's see what happens. Okay, we're gonna go out. We're gonna go out. Yay! We're gonna go out here. Okay, so we're gonna save this. Alrighty. Okay, this is gonna come out. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's see if we can get this on here and we can start talking about our temperatures. So our local storm tracks, our sweeping radar, that's always a nice one to add on there, right? Let's see. What do we have here? Okay. So storm reports. Okay. So now I think what we're going to do is just quickly go over temperatures. Like I was showing you all of the action that was happening in Montana, in Idaho, Wyoming, even in Oregon and Washington. So the Great Basin's pretty active. Four Corners pretty active. We're also seeing active central, northern, southern plains, very hot southern plains. We're also seeing some action for the northern Rockies. Let's see what else. But cooler here in Boston. Look at this, 76 degrees, 73 in New Haven. Hello, Connecticut. Miss you guys. Hopefully I'll see you all soon. 74 in New York, 78 in Philadelphia, Baltimore 76, Pittsburgh 77, Detroit 73, Buffalo 70, Indianapolis at 80, 84 for Louisville, Charlotte 75, Nashville 88, Charleston 76, Atlanta 80, 90 for Memphis. And we also have 91 for Little Rock, Jackson 88, Mobile 87, New Orleans 86 degrees, all dry. Houston 92 degrees, 98 for Dallas, 101 for Odessa, Amarillo 93, 96. Oklahoma City 95 degrees, 89 degrees for Corpus Christi. I was just reading something about somebody that started in Oklahoma. Oh, Flaming Lips. I was rewatching an episode, like season 6, I think, of Portlandia, which is like my favorite show ever. And they had there was this one episode with Flaming Lips on there, and then I was just like, oh my god, I forgot. Like I totally forgot they were from Oklahoma City. I mean, they weren't born there, but they came together, and their band was born in Oklahoma City. So shout out to Flaming Lips. Wichita 88 degrees, Kansas 80 degrees for you, Des Moines 79, Minneapolis also seeing upper 70s, Green Bay 75, 79 for Chicago, Sioux Falls 81, Bismarck 81, Billings 92, Boise 78, Seattle 65, 57 for Seattle, Portland 65, Copper 59, Washoe City. Hi guys in Washoe City, 61 degrees. San Francisco 67, 72 for Los Angeles, 74 for San Diego. St. George 96 degrees, 88 for Salt Lake City. Denver 81. I think Albuquerque one more time, 85 degrees. And as we go back to our alerts, now it's time to check out what's happening over here. So they've removed 2 of the severe thunderstorm alerts that we had issued right on this was actually the one they left was right on the border. So, and that was the one that had that little bit of a hook, right, that we're talking about. So, can we get that? Can we get that right now? Okay, let me remove the radar. There we go. Yeah, this is the one severe thunderstorm warning. I'm going to remove the clouds again. Just sometimes I love clouds just as much as everybody else does, but when I'm trying to look at the bulk of this graphic, I need to see what's happening here. Okay, so yeah, I think this is really interesting. I'm going to sign off in just a little bit, 5:52, a few more minutes, I'll sign off, but let's go through some more of these alerts here. This looks like a special weather statement or a lake wind statement. Let's see here. Come on. Lake wind? Lake wind advisory, yep. So remains in effect until 7 p.m. PDT. Widespread sustained south winds between 25 and 30 for Lake Mojave, Lake Mead. Ooh, yeah, those cross that wind over that water. Be really careful. I hope you're not on there. And if you know somebody who thinks that it's great to be on there now, it's a really bad idea. Let them know that. Additional details, waves of 2 to 3 feet can be expected then with a southerly wind between 25 and 30 miles per hour sustained. Please. So glad I didn't get that invitation. Okay, additional details. Wave of 2 to 3 feet can be expected, as we said. Boaters are urged to stay in the sheltered areas and avoid the open waters late through this morning into the evening. I'm going to go to tomorrow morning. Do what you want to do. This says evening. I'm going to say through tomorrow morning because you still could very well have an issue with those winds, especially with the location of that upper level low that's just getting a little bit feistier and stronger, and that meridional flow. So just like that. And real quick, let me just take a look here, guys, on another product that I want to look at here. So if I'm at 250 millibars, right, I'm looking at my wind speed. Yeah, and I'm looking right over Montana. There is this interesting, there's this jet streak that's, as it comes down across into like right over North Dakota and then just dives into like the UP area. That could be interesting to watch for tomorrow. Also, the jet streak that's just moving, just kind of moving its way up and into like, yeah, just right across the Great Basin. Actually, it's a really great way to describe it. And then there's this big kind of upper level flow that just is super, super aggressive. Like there's a lot going on at 250 millibars. Let's go to 500 millibars and let's just see what happens here with the wind. Less, this is interesting. So at 500 millibars, we're seeing a lot of high values, especially over the Great Basin. Very interesting. That's going to be really interesting. Let's go. Let's see standard height anomalies, colder air. We're looking at, let's see, 880 millibars there, and then 760 higher up. So we're definitely looking at some really interesting values, especially at 500 millibars. Vorticity, same thing, super active over the Great Basin. So that just seems to be, and then that cold air, it's like there's just like one spot of cold air that comes in, just like really dry cold air. So let's see what happens there. Now, it could encounter that southerly flow, right? And that just doesn't work. You can get a really good image here of what's happening with that cold front. That should be active. Let me take a look at something quickly. Okay. Okay. I need some club soda. Okay. Let's see this through tomorrow. Let's see. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. All right, that was a quick look really fast I need to take a look at. Now we're going to vertical velocity here. Same thing. Great Basin, relative humidity. Pretty dry. There. Pretty dry. So, okay. Let's see. And then we're going to go to 700 millibars. We'll go to our vorticity. Same idea. That's where it starts to get cut. So now this is where at 700 millibars, you're actually starting to see a lot more of the features that we're catching up here once I add this radar, right? Let me add this radar. So 700 millibars, absolute vorticity height. So this is actually showing a pretty good indication of what's happening here with this with these radar returns, okay? And let's see. Let's look at our preset. Surface. Let's look at our theta E. Alrighty. So a couple more. Okay. Okay. So there we go. All right. So for now, guys, I think we're going to leave this now because we have a couple of things I want to set up. For some reason, I'm not getting one feature that's just not going. See, that lake advisory came up again in Montana. So I would really take that into serious consideration. We have this one storm cell we're watching here. Like this guy right here, over Pete's, as in Pete's Coffee. Is that how you spell Pete's? Yeah, I think that's how you spell Pete's. Okay, so we're watching that for you. And we're watching this guy over here in, let's see, just west of Dallas, southwest of Graham, Breckenridge, Albany, Texas. Okay? So we'll be watching those for you very quickly. I'm certified broadcast meteorologist Erica Martin. I hope you guys all enjoyed this update. There was a lot there, right? I mean, I could go on and on and on about everything that's happening as far as the wind profile and the meridional flow. I think that's super important because people will be like, well, why is it so active? Like, what's going on with this wind? Why are we having so many lake wind advisories? Well, it's because the wind has to find a way to move with that southerly influence, with all of that, with that upper level trough, with that monsoonal influence, and it's just doing that path of least resistance. Like I say, there's also a frontal boundary that's going to swing on down. So we got some good weather for this upcoming weekend. Hope you guys are having a great evening. It's evening. It's 5:59, almost 6. So evening here in Southern California. Thank you. Thank you for all the, of course, thank you for all the, it's my pleasure, Dave. I love you guys. You guys know I always love keeping you safe. And you guys all know that the app is coming out soon. For the love of God, you guys, had I known, I'm glad ignorance is bliss. If I'd known I'd have to sit here for so many months, I would have been like, can't do it. So, but the app is beautiful. It's so beautiful. Like it's better than I even imagined. So thank you to all of our developers. Thank you to our entire team, to Jay, to Jose, to Anna, to everybody. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. Bye, guys. Mwah. Besitos. Hi, everybody. I hope you did not miss my update on all of the wind concerns happening across the Great Basin into the northern plains. We're seeing a lot of action out there. And of course, we've been tracking it for you for about the past hour here at Weather Co-op, where weather meets community. I'm certified broadcast meteorologist Erica Martin. Guys, it's crazy. There's so much out there. We are seeing that meridional pattern that is impacting the nation in a way that I think is pretty interesting for this weekend, where the south central portion of our nation is just really hot. Either coast, much cooler. We're seeing an upper level low that's an issue for us right now because of that monsoonal flow. So one is working this way, anticyclonic, the other one is cyclonic or counterclockwise, and the wind is finding its path of least resistance, and it's like, let's get through here. But when they do that, they have to squeeze together. And as they squeeze together, this is when they cause so much havoc, right? So we've been seeing lake wind advisories. Please take those seriously. We've also seen other wind advisories, and we're seeing major concerns for fire weather. I hope you are all having a great start to your weekend. I'll be back in just a little bit. Bye. Woo! All in a day's work.